is the beast from Hollywood East, Michael the Hammer Mulligan.
Hey folks, welcome to Michael the Hammer Mulligan Fireside. Today's chat, we got a great guest. His name is Denny Siggins. He's the owner and basically head reporter for Northeast MMA. If you got onto Northeast MMA, you know, Google it, whatever, you're gonna find it. And what it is it's number one, it does the rankings of all the fighters in the Northeast. Number two, it does interviews on every event. Now, I say every event, some of them aren't on there. That's due to the lack of the promoters' efforts to get him the information. Now, Denny took it over. I believe it was started, I may be wrong, by Joe Lazone and some friends, and I think it got, you know, too much. Joe's a very good fighter. He's in the UFC, and he's a very, very busy fighter these days. He's got another fight coming up. He's just always busy. So I think Denny got it from him. How, I don't know if it was bought, if it was given, whatever. It's not my business. But anyways, Denny does a great job on this show. I mean, I think his hits on the website daily has gone from the 700s to the 3,000s since he's taken it over. He does a great job on the interviews of the fighters. He does a great job on the reviews of the fights. You know, he goes, he sits, he watches. He's got him, his sons, some friends that do this, and they just do a really, really good job. He's a great advocate for the sport of mixed martial arts. He was a fighter. He's an older gentleman like me who started later as a MMA fighter and did his thing, and now he's out of the fighting part of it, and he's, you know, he's doing his part to follow the sport and to further it, as I with this show. So I hope you enjoyed, Denny. I know I do. Thank you very much. Hey folks, welcome to another Fireside Chat with Michael the Hammer Mulligan and Denny Siggins. Old school Siggins.
Good to see you.
What's going on? I seen Denny fight a while ago. Was the first time I ever saw him, and I remember him coming down, walking into the ring to old school, and it was awesome because he's another older guy like me, and it was great to see. Give me a little experience. What is your experience for the fighting?
I guess I'm sort of a lifelong martial artist. I started training in the martial arts when I stopped running competitively. I was a distance runner in high school and college. And along the time my third child was born, I stopped competing as an athlete. And a few years later, I was 31 years old, I started in the martial arts, traditional martial arts. I earned my first couple of black belts in Shotokan. And I was bitten by the MMA bug like everybody else, and I decided back in about 2007 to try to find some training partners, do a little bit of training. I was living in the White Mountains at the time, and that's how I got involved. I got in a couple of cage fights, and the MMA community welcomed me in and embraced me, and you know, my first fight, I just thought I was going to sneak in, experience the cage, and walk out the back door and nobody would know. And when the bug bites you, you can't walk away.
Yeah, no.
You can't.
It's
you know
addictive.
That.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is. And
yeah.
I think that you would agree, MMA fighters are some of the most generous, helpful gentlemen out there.
Yeah, it's like a family.
It really is.
Yeah, and I say that in every show. People are going to get sick of hearing it, but to me, everywhere I go, the people are, oh, look at this guy. It isn't an aggressive alpha male, you know, they look at you and want to beat you up and say, oh, I could do this. They look at you, they embrace you, they take you in, they get to know you. It's beautiful.
It is. And so many times, they'll say, oh, you do this really well. You know, where does that kick come from? Or how do you do that takedown? Or what is that? They want to learn from you, and at the same time, you're going to learn from them.
Yes.
Greg Rubello came into the gym tonight, and right away, Denny goes, after class, I got to show you. I have a variation on that darce choke.
Yeah.
Right after class.
And this was something that you had been talking about previous or something?
We all, no. Anytime Greg or I sees a new move,
Nice.
or we come in, and because we're both arm triangle kind of guys, and we're always showing each other new stuff.
I
that
think
we
I
pick up.
saw you. You were over there, and then he had you bring your knee up and sit
Right,
out.
that's what
Yeah,
we're
yeah, I
doing
was watching
tonight.
that. That was awesome.
You
Yeah.
know, that's the kind of guy Greg Rebello is. He's one of the best teachers of the martial arts, because he breaks it down move by move, and that's the way the game is. There's so many good people in this game.
Yeah, he helped me on that. My last fight, he spent a ton of time with me
That's the way
against
he
the
is.
cage, and not for money, not for anything else, but the love of the sport.
Yeah.
And he likes people. He's a
Yeah,
nice guy.
he's
Yeah.
a good egg.
Yeah.
He's a good egg.
Nice. So keep going with the bug. You got bit by the bug.
I got bit by the bug, and I didn't have any training partners. I lived up in northern New Hampshire, and I realized after I fought Michael Gresh and he took me apart with leg kicks, that this is a game that you need serious training partners. And I met you at Michael's fight at the weigh-ins. Do you remember meeting?
Of
You
course I
introduced
do.
yourself.
Of course I do.
You came
Yeah.
over at the weigh-ins, you introduced yourself. That's where we met.
Yep. I remember you leaning over at another fight. I think it was Nada's fight when Nada won the title. You leaning over, and you were in the. I was on the floor. You were in the balcony, and you saying to me something like, "You always smile." Remember that? You said like you always have a smile on your face.
You were at Plymouth Memorial Hall,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
said, "This is my home."
Yeah.
I grew up here.
Yeah. First dance.
This is, right.
First dance. Yeah. Everything. That was it. In Plymouth, exactly.
Yep, exactly. And
First fight. Everything. Yeah.
the group from Team Burgess in Manchester, I showed up at an event one time, and I wasn't fighting. I was a spectator, but these boys were so helpful to me. Team Burgess, Nate Lamont, and John Burgess, and just the whole crew. And
Were they from New Hampshire?
they're from Manchester, but that's 2.5 hours south of Whitefield.
Well, the only reason I asked is because when I went up there, when I drove to New Hampshire, because I needed a fight, and mine canceled, whatever, and I was mad, it was my first fight. When I drove up there, the guy that was supposed to fight, but he broke his ribs, so I was going up to take his place. It was Team Burgess, and they helped me. They cornered me. They did everything. They just jumped right in.
This Master John Burgess is a great man. He's a minister, and he helps young people.
Nice.
He brings people off the street. He helps guys that maybe have tough backgrounds. And I walked into an event one time, and all the Burgess guys came over to me, and they started calling me old school. I don't know where they got that, but they invented it.
Yep.
And that name stuck. And they used to invite me down once every couple of weeks whenever I could make the trip down. I haven't fought in a couple of years, but when I took an early retirement, I've been very, very blessed in so many ways in my life. I took an early retirement. And I was 49 years old, and my wife and I moved to our vacation home, which we already owned, in Cape Cod.
Beautiful.
We sold the big house, 5,000 square feet, and you know, decks and pools and all the beautiful stuff, because all my kids moved out. And Barbara and I were left in this giant, lovely home, bouncing off the walls.
Exactly.
So we decided to downsize. We sold the big house, and we moved to Cape Cod, and we love it. And for the last year and a half, I've been training at Cape Cod Fighting, and I'm re-energized. The martial arts has been a part of my life for more than 20 years, and right now I'm training with the nicest group, the best group, the most consistent group of people that I've ever had, and I feel great.
Yep.
I
good.
feel really
You look
good.
great.
I feel good.
Yeah. It
For a
keeps
young
you
guy.
keeps you alive.
It does.
It really does. Especially, like you say, you retired, Mike retired too. You know what I mean? And so the mixed martial arts is something that is he doesn't call it, he calls it a way of life, is the way that he describes it. It is. And it keeps you going, because I often wonder, you know, what's going to happen when I retire, what's going to happen, what am I going to do? Because I'm a very active guy. I got to keep moving, I got to keep doing something. So that is something that can keep me energized, as you say, to the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah, and you can always compete on some level.
Exactly.
You know, I had gotten very bored with the traditional martial arts, and I felt bad because I started a school with a friend of mine, because up where we lived in the mountains there was no martial arts at all. So we started a small school, it was going very well, but I felt bad because we came up through a traditional martial arts school where you got to fight your way to get your belts, literally.
Yep.
And in this new culture of everybody gets a trophy, everybody is a winner, all of a sudden we're handing out cookie cutter belts to everybody who shows up for 6 weeks in a row, 10 weeks in a row. And I really wasn't on board for that program.
You can't be.
No.
I understand the stripes and stuff with the little kids. I understand that you have to keep the children motivated. I understand that, but not the belts. But the, you know, I mean, once they get a stripe in 6 months or something like that, then it gives them a little bit of energy.
Yeah.
And like you say, sometimes it's a business. It is a business. They have to get paid, so they'll want to keep their interest. But
yeah. But I had gotten away from the traditional martial arts, and I still owned the school. It just, my heart wasn't in it. I used to have a group of kids. I would bring them around to tournaments, and we'd do very well. And I used to compete in those tournaments and do very well. It was enjoyable. And the program, another school or two opened up, and all of a sudden they're handing out black belts to 12-year-old kids, and it wasn't.
It's a factory, yeah.
You know, and that's who we're competing against. And if we don't start belting and promoting kids, then, you know, we're not going to do well as a business. And I just
Sell your soul.
Yeah, I didn't want to be involved in that. That's why I got out of the traditional martial arts, and I looked at the mixed martial arts and I said, this is the real deal.
Yep.
No belts, no rankings. You get in that cage and you shut the door behind you.
Right.
And it's you and him and the referee, and all your teammates can watch, but they can't jump in and help you out.
There's no feeling, nothing like it in the world.
It's
not for me, anyways. I mean, I know people look at it funny, but
people don't understand fighters. You know, if you're not a fighter, then no explanation will do, and if you are a fighter, then no explanation is necessary.
Yeah. And
that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me about Northeast MMA.
Boy, they Northeast MMA is our website, and I started writing for them about a year ago, but I was always a reader of their website and a friend of their website, and a contributor, an occasional contributor. And probably a little more than a year ago, Rick Caldwell, who was I would say the caretaker. The website was started a few years earlier by Joe Lazan, and when he and his partner, I can't remember his name, he had a partner, the business partner that helped them on the website. Joe became a fighter in the UFC and he didn't have time to run the site anymore. The other gentleman went on to work for a large corporation, and Rick, almost by default, was left with the website. And he needed some writers. I volunteered to help him out, and after about a year of writing for him, I asked if he wanted to step down, and he really did. He was a little burnt out on it. I gave him a fair price so that he could go away and feel good about it. He still does our rankings. He does a lot for the website. We still have 5 or 6 writers, regular writers.
So explain, because you know a lot of the people in the audience aren't going to know what it is.
What we do is we try to cover every mixed martial arts event in New England. Right now we have 11 promoters.
Yep.
And a 12th one just threw his hat in the ring.
Nice.
And then you throw in Bellator.
Yep. And
we really have 13 promotions.
Nice.
That we try to cover. and we try to cover all of them if we can. Sometimes we can't. We do previews, and then we send a writer, either myself or somebody else, to the event. We cover the event. We do a write-up afterwards, a review of it, and then we also do interesting stories on different fighters. Once a month we do the rankings.
Right.
So,
it's once a month now, is it?
Well, it's actually every other month. On odd months we do the pro rankings. On the even months we do the amateur rankings.
Yeah.
So every 60 days we update our rankings.
Nice. Because it used to be once, what, every 6 months or
Ah,
something?
once every 8 or 10 or 12 months, who knows, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
So now we update it every 60 days. And what we do, literally, we go right through the rankings, and we have 7 weight classes, at least 10 ranked in every class, and we, blow by blow, this guy didn't have a fight in the last 60 days. This guy fought once, it was a victory against so-and-so, and we go right down all the fighters.
Sure, nice. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Because there's a lot of fighters out there.
There's a lot of fighters, and it's a lot of work. And then we put the preliminary rankings out there, so all our readers can contribute.
And the thing is that you can actually go on there. You can, when you get on, you can. Do you need to belong to the website now?
No, you
to
don't.
comment? You don't have to.
No, you don't.
Okay, so you can go on and you can look at the rankings and some of the controversies that has stirred up in the past.
Yeah, they are. They're
crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. What about this guy? What about this guy? What about the? How the hell did he get there and I'm not there? Because the fighters tune in sometimes.
Sometimes the fighters, always the fans. A lot of times the coaches.
Yep.
I love doing the rankings because the readers like it, but mostly we're sticking our neck out.
Right.
And it's almost like we're passing judgment. I mean, I try not to look at it that way.
Well, hey, listen,
but
you've got to be able to do this, and the reader's input is huge.
It is very
because
good.
There's a lot. I remember a while ago, I read, and this is pre-you, this is before you were there, I read in the rankings about and somebody wrote, what about this guy? And the guy wrote and said, I'm sorry, I don't know how, I think it was Rick, I don't know how I missed it, and you're absolutely right. And he was in the rankings next, and they changed him off
for that guy. And I think it was Chip
Pollard. It was Chip Pollard. The guy didn't want to say the name, but that's who it was. And they went, oh my God, how did that happen?
I do remember that, and he corrected. And now, I made a mistake 6-7 months ago. I put a fighter in the wrong weight class.
Yep.
Because he had actually fought 3 light heavyweights in a row.
Yep.
And I put him in the wrong weight class. I didn't realize
found out
they had all come up in weight to fight him.
Yep.
And I thought we had him in the wrong weight class. Yes, I found out about that one very quick. But I'm sure I make more mistakes in a day than the average person.
Who cares?
But
who cares?
when you do things,
you're doing it.
You're doing it.
Right. And that's why he's here. And that's what I like, is because he took on a huge responsibility with this website. It is a really big responsibility because nobody out there is spending that much time and that much effort to do this for the sport in this area, and that's huge. And I thank you.
You're welcome, and I love it. I absolutely enjoy it. In the month of August, we only had 1 fight. It was Bellator.
Yep.
And I've really got to know the Bellator people quite well over the last several months. And we had the greatest undercard ever. It was all ranked fighters fighting one another.
Yep.
And 3 in particular really rose above and beyond. So this whole past week, after I did the review on Sunday, I took a day off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I did an article. Tuesday I did an article on Saul Almeida.
Yep.
Who really rose to the top of the 145 rankings.
Who did he just...
Tateki, Matsuda.
And now Tateki, I read, is on the show. He's going on The Ultimate Fighter this season.
Ooh, is he really?
Yes, he is. And I heard that this is the last season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big win for Saul.
It's huge.
So I did an article. I did I know all the fighters. I called them on the phone. We had a nice interview.
Nice.
I did a Tuesday article on him. Now Wednesday, I did Ryan Quinn, because he was ranked number 7 and he beat number 1 ranked Brett O'Teary
Beautiful.
at 170.
That was quick too.
Quick.
I feel bad for Brett because he's a great fighter, and he hasn't been doing this long either. He's another one that's maybe got what, 3 years under his belt.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the wrestling background that a lot of the fighters do.
Right. I think he just moved in too quick too. I think he made a little mistake there.
You know,
but yeah, I know.
That guy has never taken an easy fight in his life.
Yeah.
Look at who he's fought. And he's not afraid of anybody.
Yeah.
And I saw him after the fight because he was sharing the locker room with Jeff Nader.
Yeah.
And as you well know by now, everybody and their brother was trying to get into the Nader locker room after the fight. You got to know somebody to get in that locker room.
Yeah, you do.
And Thursday's article was on Jeff Nader.
Yeah.
Now, Thursday I did the article on Jeff Nader.
Yep.
And our website is northeastmma.net. Northeastmma.net. You guys all know that. And this is the impact that our website can have. Nick Newell was in a nationwide contest for all professional fighters.
Yep.
Anybody can enter.
Yep.
And he made it to the final 4 as chosen by couchpotato.com. Okay?
Yeah.
And the winner of this contest was going to sign a 3-fight deal with Shark Fights out of Kansas City, Missouri. And so Nick Newell was in a 4-way battle, a nationwide battle.
Yep.
And the contest came down to who gets the most votes.
On what?
On you click on the Couch Potato website.
Okay.
And they have all 4 fighters.
Yep.
And they each have a 3-minute video.
Yep.
On their story.
Yep.
You watch all the videos and you vote for the best one.
Okay.
It was a very close contest until Nick Newell's manager, Tim, dropped me an email on the website. So I called Tim, did a quick interview, and I put up a little article on our website.
Yep.
And our readers went to that website and
Nice.
they inundated that website with Nick Newell fans.
Nice.
And he won going away.
Nice.
And I just talked to Nick today. He signed a 3-fight, very, very good money contract with Shark Fights out of Kansas City.
Nice.
So that's
Jeez,
the power of our readers.
Right, and that's what we want to do here too. See, this is the purpose of this show. Isn't you know, this isn't for me. This isn't for him. We're doing this for the fighters. We're doing this for all those guys that work so hard to
Absolutely.
get by in this sport.
Absolutely. We're not making a killing at this.
Yeah, I'm not
Right?
making nothing.
Right.
I'm just doing it for fun, you know.
This is for the fighters because when we were little, we had Little League coaches doing this for us.
Right.
And when we were in high school, we had high school coaches doing it for us, and this is what we're doing.
Somebody needs to promote these guys.
This is what we're
They're
doing.
your neighbors. They live here. They you know, you seen them walking down the street growing up. They're in a good place when they're doing MMA. They got great family around them, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
What would you like to finish with, young man?
Boy, I think you've covered it all. Let me take a brief moment to think about this. You know, I'm working right now to expand our fan base.
Nice.
I have a column coming up.
And what's the website again?
northeastmma.net.
And this isn't a paid thing. This isn't anything that anybody's making any money. This is for the fans to see the people.
Anybody can go to our website. You can read it. You can click on. You can drop us an email, but you don't have to. Support your local fighter. Support your local promotion.
Yep, exactly.
I do have a new link with the Cape Cod Times. We're going to have a regular article now coming up. We don't know if it's going to be every 2 weeks or every month in the Cape Cod Times, talking about local fighters.
Yep.
And local promotions.
Right. It's getting bigger, folks. It's getting bigger.
We're getting there.
Well, folks, Michael the Hammer Mulligan and Denny Siggins, thank you for coming to another Fireside Chat.
Thank you very much.
See you next time. So I hope you like today's show. What happens a lot of times is when I do these videos, I sit down and I talk with these guys. You know, a lot of them are friends, a lot of them are people that I'm just getting to meet myself, but I just go with the flow. So we do it once, whatever happens, happens within that time. Sometimes it goes longer, sometimes it goes short, sometimes I got to trim it, sometimes I got space left. So for those special times when we got space left, when I first started this thing on YouTube, it was just me basically talking about things that I wanted to talk about. So I tried to think of a theme that I could do little things at the end, you know, what would I call it, you know. So I'm going to call it common sense, because that's what it's about, you know. I didn't go to college. I went to the school of hard knocks. I'm not a very politically correct guy. I speak before I think a lot of times, which has got me in trouble, but that's all right. That's who I am. That's what I do. That's the way it's going to stay. I ain't going to change. So I'm going to call this last section common sense. So if we run a little bit short on the video, we got a little time left over, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to talk about something that basically I think needs a little influence of common sense. The thing that I want to talk about today is when you're on the highway, now, and it just stuff that occurs to me because it's something that I'm going through at the moment, but I realize it happens all the time. Now, we all seen how many times that on the news that state troopers, police, whatever, have been smashed into, killed, hurt, whatever, on the side of the road. Yet we still drive down the highway, and I always do put on my blanket going in the other lane when I see the police on the side of the road, be it an accident, be it whatever the reason is, he's there for a reason. I don't need to be close to him. So I'm going to put my blinker on. I'm going to get into the other lane. You know, if it's a AAA truck picking up somebody that's stuck, it don't matter if it's a cop, whatever. I'm going to get the heck out of the way. I want to get myself out of the equation. Why? Because it's common sense. Because I don't want to be the cause of somebody else's, you know, injuries, demise, whatever. So that's what I do. Now, the other day I was trying to do this maneuver, get the hell out of the way, and I had a guy right beside me who wasn't thinking, you know what I mean? It was, I don't know, he was on his own little world, whatever, but I kept putting my blinker on, I'd slow down, I'd speed up, and he was kind of mirroring my image. I don't think he thought I was trying to overtake him or something, but I just wanted to get out of the equation, so I finally made it out of there. But the more I think about it, the more I see people just staying in that lane, and I don't understand it. It's not common sense. So if you're driving down the highway, and if you think like I think, and if you don't want to be part of this, the hell out of the way. Just pull over into the other lane. It's simple. It's simple. Little blinker, get out of the way. You know, you can go back over, do whatever anyway. But just a little bit of common sense is all it takes, baby. So thanks for coming to another episode of Fireside with Michael, the Hammer Mulligan.